selected a question under quadratic equation lesson, that is 2012 paper. මේකේ පොඩි වෙනසක් තියෙනවා අනිත් ගණන් වලට වඩා. ඒකයි මම මේ ගාන සිලෙක්ට් කරගත්තේ. මේන් රීසන් එක තමයි මේ graph එකේ කියන්නේ quadratic equation කියන graph එකේ behavior එක ඒගොල්ලෝ interpret කරලා තියෙනවා using minimum value. ඒ කියන්නේ minimum value එකත් එක්ක graph එකේ behavior එක check කරලා තිනවා minimum value එකත් එක්ක. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක අර සාමාන්‍ය යන pattern එකට වඩා පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් ගානක්. ඒක මම මේක select කරගත්තේ. Okay, right. I'll write the question for you. The fx is given x squared plus 2kx plus k plus 2, right? Then we have been asked to express fx in the form of, we have to convert this to this format, right here, right? Everybody knows that if we want to change the quadratic equation to this format, we have to do the completing square, right? I'll do it for you. I think everybody knows how to do the completing square. We have to add k squared and we have to subtract it, right? Okay, this should be right here. Then if they have given the the formula, I mean මේ format එක දීලා තියෙනවා නම් we have to write our constant as per the given constant. Let's say then we have plus k here. In the format they have minus k. Then what would be the a? A would be minus k. After putting minus k only we can get plus k here, right? B would be minus k squared plus k plus 2. Okay, right. And the second part, without using calculus, without using differentiation, we have to find the minimum point and the turning point of this graph, and we have to say that is minimum, right? How to say that, right? Everybody knows how to, after doing the computing square, this part would be the maximum value and this part would be the perfect square, right? Then they are asking what is the turning point, right? Normally we write when x equal minus k, fx is minimum, but we have to show that it is minimum because what is the reason? A is positive, right? The main condition is if A is positive, then we can say this is minimum. If A is negative, this is maximum, right? Then we have plus 1 here, that is positive, then the fx should have a minimum value. That's why I wrote then when x equal minus k, fx is minimum. The reason is A greater than 0. Then you have to write this one to get the marks, right? Then minimum fx minimum value would be, we know after substituting minus k here, then we are getting this value. Fx minus fx minimum value should be, right? Then the turning point minus k comma x coordinate and y coordinate, right? In the previous lessons I have told you how to get the minimum value, and and what is the x value when it reach its minimum value, and what is the coordinate, right? I am not going to tell it now, right? Everybody knows how to get the coordinate, right? They are asking the turning point and show that it is minimum, because the x squared coefficient is positive, then we are getting the minimum value. That is the proper answer, right? The best thing is coming next. Right. Using this minimum value, right, there are three different cases, right? We have been asked under alpha if k lies between these 2 points, fx totally above the x-axis. Right, and the b and the beta k equal -1, k equals 2, x-axis is tangent and the gamma greater than 2, fx intersects fx at 2 points, right? This is the question, right? Here first case is if k is greater than -1 and less than 2, fx is totally above the x-axis, right? But by using, but before that we have to use this minimum value to get the answer, right? How to connect this minimum value to the behavior of the graph? අපි කොහොමද මේ graph එකේ behavior එක මේ minimum value එකත් එක්ක consider connect කරන්නේ? එතකොට පොඩ්ඩක් මම ඔයාලා graph එක ඇදලා පෙන්නන්නම්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේක minimum graph එකක් නේ, ඔහොම තමයි graph එක එන්නේ. අපි ගමු graph එක වෙන්න පුළුවන් කීපයක් තියෙනවා, right? එතකොට මෙතනදි minimum value එක කියලා ගන්න මේ value එකනේ. මෙතනදි minimum value එක එන්නේ මෙතන. මෙතන minimum value එක එන්නේ මෙතන. Right? Then what would be the sign of the minimum value here if we consider the first graph? In first graph, minimum value, if we consider the minimum value, what would be the sign? I mean, I'm asking whether it is positive or negative. I'm asking whether it is positive or negative. Can you say? Here y value is positive, then minimum value is positive. Then here minimum value equal 0. Here minimum value less than 0. Agree or not? All agree? Right? We can't have the graphs except these three. Right? If it is minimum, the graph either either above the x-axis, or it touch the x-axis, or it should be below the x-axis. There is no any other pattern, right? If we consider this one as case 1, the minimum value is positive, right? Everybody can see it here. Here minimum value is negative. See, minimum value is 0. Here minimum value negative, that means it is less than 0, right? Before going to the alpha, right, we'll go to the beta, right? If x-axis is tangent to the fx, disconnect with this one, then minimum value should be 0. I have right, then minimum value should be 0. Then what is the minimum value? In the turning point, I missed this minus sign here, you have to add it. Right, then we can take my minus out of the bracket, then we can go for the factors. For beta, right? Then I substitute the minimum value, and it should be equal to 0, and the final value is k equals minus 1 and k equals 2. Then we got the answer for beta, right? Right, we'll go for the alpha. Then first one, the minimum value should be greater than 0. Totally above the x-axis means it should be greater than 0, the minimum value. The minimum value is this one, and greater than 0, minimum, k plus 2 greater than 0. Similarly, right, here in previous lessons I have taught you how to get the range of the k values if we have the equation like this, right? This is an inequality. If we have the quadratic equation, quadratic inequality, right, then how we can go for the k values? Then everybody knows we have to go for the number line, right? Then we can go for the value behind, less than minus 1, just say minus 2, here negative, here negative, negative, positive, and here also negative, right? Minus 1 to plus 2, we can go for 0, plus 1 is positive, and minus 1 to minus 2 is negative. We can substitute 0. Then after substituting 0, we are getting positive value here. Then we are getting negative value here. Positive, negative, negative, negative into again negative. This should be positive. Then similarly, we can get negative here. If we can take right, let's say after substituting value, if we exactly say this is negative, then we can go for the other two one by one alternatively, right? Minus, plus, minus. Then we have to go for plus values because positive values, because we are asking to when we have been asked to find the minimum value greater than 0, right? Then it should be this area, because this is positive, right? If it is here here we have the minimum value should be greater than 0, then here we have this sign greater than 0, then it should be, you have to go for the positive sign, then the answer would be and the other one fx intersects x-axis. Right. The third case, fx intersects x-axis in 2 points, right here. Then the minimum value should be less than 0. Then this one. Now I have done the calculation so far. Right. I can use the same calculation for this one, right? Because I have done up to this point. So the only difference is here we have considered the greater than 0, here we have considered less than 0. Then what would be the value? Nothing changed, only the sign, and we have to go for the negative signs because we are getting the k values in order to get the values less than 0, right? So we have to go for these values. Then how do we write these areas? K less than -1 and k greater than 2. Oh, this is this is union, or you can write O. This would be the answer for gamma, right? I started with the minimum value 0, then you got the values for k equal -1 and k equals 2, and you got the values for alpha, case alpha. This is the answer, and you got the answer for gamma. This is the answer.